Hello and welcome back to the channel. And I quote, "This beer tastes like a Crunchie in a glass." That's right, that was the quote given to me by Jo at Blue Monkey about this beer when I went to pick it up. She describes it as like a Crunchie in a glass. There is even a cheeky little Crunchie styled bar of chocolate on the side here, which I'll show you in a minute. This is simply called Cinder Toffee, a 5% stout from Blue Monkey. Now, Blue Monkey, of course, are not unfamiliar with flavoured stouts, but they're almost always flavoured versions of their core Gorilla. This is something else which excites me quite a lot. I love Gorilla, but let's be honest, every time they do something new, it's always just going to be a little bit, not necessarily more interesting, but, well, yeah, more interesting. So, Cinder Toffee. This is not the first beer out there to describe itself as like a Crunchie in a glass. Of course, there is the Cinder Bonfire something or other from New Bristol Brewery. There are two honeycomb beers from Seven Brothers, of course, which I have tried. And I'm sure there's a couple others out there as well. So, how will this stack up? Well, let's find out, shall we? Before we crack into it, of course, a quick look at the bottle. Token Blue Monkey chimp, which is notoriously not a monkey, as all of you like to tell me every time I post a Blue Monkey video.
Oh, I can't hold it, Dad. Don't worry, son. I've shifted more pianos than you've had hot dinners.
So yeah, Cinder Toffee, Blue Monkey Brewery. In fact, you can see the title there is also styled like a like a Crunchie wrapper. And then as we spin it around, of course, normal info on the back. Another instance of that kind of chocolate bar on the side there. Bit more info, which we'll go over later. And yeah, standard Blue Monkey stuff, really. Of course, I'll be using my Blue Monkey glass for this one, and I should say that this bottle is bottle conditioned, so there probably will be a little bit of sediment in the bottom. The reason for that is that they're starting to trial what kind of brewery specials, brewery specifics, basically stuff that doesn't go on site and to other bottle shops, just stuff that you can pick up at the brewery and of course on tap or cask in some of their organ grinder pubs. This is one of them, so if you want one of these, well, you're going to have to come over to Nottingham, I'm afraid, but well, we got good beer, so that's probably not a bad thing. Being careful with the pour then, as it is bottle conditioned. Now, I know I was being a bit gentle, but there's not much head to this. It is relatively flat. Then again, I hate fizzy stout, so this is probably not a big issue. But other than that, in the glass, it's pretty much jet black. The tiniest bit of brown bleeding through at the bottom. I'm talking kind of a mil or two. But yeah, otherwise, looks solid. Other than the fact that this glass is not absolutely clean, which is triggering me slightly. Aromas then. Yes, I'm already really excited. It smells sweet. It smells sweet. It smells like honeycomb, toffee, caramel. The malty biscuit base isn't lost in there either. Oh, this smells like it's going to be an absolute treat. There's no hop to talk of whatsoever. This is absolutely sweet, decadent. I mean, it's an adjunct stout, let's be honest, and it is absolutely doing what I would want it to with that aroma. Wow. Right. Shall we get into it? Cheers. I mean, you can tell, right? You can tell already. I know everyone's probably already, of course, you're saying this time it's Blue Monkey, it's your favourite, you're always going to rave about it. It is properly good. What I will do, in an unusual turn of events, is pick out the things that, wrong is the wrong word, the things that I would have changed. It is flat. Now, it's not totally flat. It has been subject to a bit of additional fermentation and carbonation in the bottle, but there's not a lot. I don't like fizzy stouts, but this probably needed just a little bit more. And as a result, I think a lot of the deeper, complex flavours that are in this beer are being mitigated by the fact that that carbonation isn't there to kind of spritz it around the mouth and shake everything up. But the flavours that are in there, they're there in heaps and bounds, and this isn't a boozy chocolate milkshake, which is what a lot of this style beer often ends up being. There's roastiness at the back end, and it's relatively sessionable, actually. It's not too thick. It's, I'd say, slightly thinner than their standard Gorilla. And as a result, subject to that being on cask and going through a handful, livening it up a little bit, sorting a bit of the conditioning out, I mean, that would be absolutely supreme. So you know what I'm talking about then. Top to bottom taste test time. So, initially, the mildest bit of carbonation on the tip of the tongue, followed by quite a bit of subdued bitterness. The first impression is beer, not chocolate candy, which is, well, it's a nice surprise, I think it's fair to say. As soon as that hits, though, it gets taken away, and you end up with, well, a hit of the sweet stuff, but it's not intense. And to be honest, it's not really crunchy honeycomb toffee caramel. Well, maybe it is caramel, but it's reminding me more of those little creme caramel things that look like yogurts that you get in France more often than not in discount German supermarkets. It's those. That second phase is distinctly vanilla caramel kind of set custardy thing, which I wasn't expecting, but I tell you what, it goes down a treat. And the midpoint is a bit of a clean break, actually quite refreshing. A little bit, I don't like the word, but splashy. Do you know what I mean? Where it's kind of, it doesn't stick to your mouth, it actually gets thrown around, and yeah, it's a semi-refreshing drink, which for a dark chocolate flavoured stout is just insane. After that, you get a hit of chocolate, but it's raw cacao. It's deep and it's sweet. There's a bit of the Cinder Toffee starting to come through at that point, but it blends with those kind of cacao flavours and produces something rich, earthy, but also not too tart or bitter. And finally, it ends on kind of a breadth of those Cinder Toffee honeycomb flavours right across the back of the mouth. But actually, they're not that intense. They're proper, they're there, and you can appreciate them in full. But it's not dominating. And then, once everything settles down a bit, you're left with a slightly sweet taste, but also a conviction that what you just drank was indeed a proper, no-nonsense stout, even if it has a little bit of Flavor Flav going on.
Yeah, boy!
Yeah, that is a good one. Right then, let's take a look at the bottle. So, Cinder Toffee, 5% stout from Blue Monkey Brewery. It says, since hitting the beer world in 2008, Blue Monkey has gained a powerful reputation by winning more than 100 national awards, including one at BeerX SIBA Awards last week or two. The ingredients are water, malted barley, wheat and hops. It says, please drink responsibly, drinkaway.co.uk, bluemonkeybrewery.com, which are in Nottinghamshire, NG16. And on the other side, it says again, Cinder Toffee Stout, a rich, full-bodied stout with huge toffee aromas and delicious caramel undertones lingering nicely on the tongue. Yeah, absolutely. It says, hand-bottled, may contain sediment. You can tell there's just a little bit of a white hue to the edge of the liquid that's left in there, which will be that. It says best before the 21st of June 22, so this was presumably bottled on the 21st of January, I want to say. We're now in end of maybe a bit after that, I don't know. But yes, that's what it says anyway. 2.5 UK units in this bottle. It's 5%, 500ml bottle as always. And yeah, not much more to say about it really, but absolutely cracking winter beer, that. Now, I'm very familiar with Blue Monkey, so we need to kind of consider about where this sits in their lineup and how it compares to everything else. This is probably the best dark beer they've done outside of the core Gorilla range and variants. And to be honest, it probably beats a few of the variants for me personally that I'm maybe not as keen on. But Gorilla is still just that bit much more of a, I don't know, a really proper rustic, no-nonsense stout. This is a little lighter, it's a little easier to get on with, but as a result, actually, if you wanted to start to get into the world of, I guess, semi-traditional, because I mean it is an adjunct beer, but the base is still quite a traditional stout, but are slightly put off by those massive roasty bitter flavours, then, well, this might be a solid starting point. And I have to say, on a chilly day, given the choice between this and any of the Gorilla ones on cask in a pub somewhere, I'm not going to say I'm only drinking this, but it's probably going to be back and forth between the two, which tells you I might not be saying it's absolutely the best, but it's pretty damn close. And of course, how does it compare to the other beers that are flavoured in this way? Well, it's more raw, is what I'd have to say. It's probably a bit more of the beer profile coming through on this one. It's a bit more homely, a bit more rustic perhaps in some ways. But I know a lot of people are dead against adjunct beers throughout just because they see it as a cheapening of that thing that they love so much. And I get it, I understand it. But at the same time, Blue Monkey do it in a way that pays true homage to what the core beer is and is not just about that flavour, even though it is absolutely fantastic. And that really is all I have to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.